Hi, all, and welcome to audio engineering session. We'll give it a few minutes as everybody is starting to join right now. Okay. Hi, all. Welcome to audio engineering session. I'm excited you joined us today. My name is Dr. Venicia Farrell. I'm a research associate with the Center for Educational Partnerships here at Old Dominion University. This afternoon, we're joined by Mr. Terry Bonner and Ms. Melissa Atkinson, who will be your instructors for the session today. But Dr. D.Joe will be speaking to you first. Dr. Joe, of course, is the director of Brooks Crossing Innovation Lab at Old Dominion University. Which is also in connection with the Virginia Modeling, Analysis, and Simulation Center, also known as VMAS. She has over 27 years of education and workforce experience, and she's currently in the Brooks Crossing and the director of the Brooks Crossing facility, and that's where they're actually located today. It represents a consortium of academic, nonprofit, government, and industry organizations. The Innovation Lab is, of course, a STEM instructional hub, and she's going to tell you a little more about that. But it does deal with open fabrication space, mixed reality space, machinery workstation, software training, associated with advanced manufacturing and entrepreneurship. But what's really interesting is today they're in the recording studio there. So without further ado, I'm going to turn that session over, but I just want to let you know that if you have any questions, please feel free to put them under the Q&A tab in the menu, and we will either respond to them live or written.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much, Dr. Farrell. We really appreciate all of your effort in moderating this musical flow of STEM series. As a matter of fact, you were the one that coined that title, so thank you, because it's really served us well. Welcome everyone to today's session. Let me share my screen with you. 1 second. All right, everyone should see that. And I would like to help us get into the musical flow. So. So thank you for joining this session of Brooks Crossing Innovation Lab presents the musical flow of STEM. The vision of the iLab is to foster academic success, career readiness, entrepreneurism by providing teachers, students, industry, and the community with access to fabrication equipment and high quality STEM learning. The mission of the iLab is to coordinate and oversee creation, delivery, and promotion of digital fabrication, STEM, and entrepreneurial educational programs to increase student interest and achievement, and to ensure the alignment of education, economic development, industry, and workforce needs. I'd like to show you a quick video to give you a little bit more information about Brooks Crossing.
Newport News is really evolving and become a city of technology. And one of the things that we're excited about and really proud of is the Brooks Crossing Innovation and Opportunity Center.
People have been driving down
Dr. Joe, we don't see the video as of now.
Okay, let me stop sharing. Thank you. And I have both of my items clicked. Let's see.
Newport News is really evolving and become a city of technology. And one of the things that we're excited about and really proud of is the Brooks Crossing Innovation and Opportunity Center.
People have been driving down Jefferson Avenue, coming off of 664, wondering what is going on in this 4-story building.
Brooks Crossing Innovation Lab is free and open to the public thanks to investments by the City of Newport News, Newport News Shipbuilding, and Old Dominion University.
The opportunities are endless.
And it's really important for our children of the 21st century and adults to really learn about STEM. The iLab is an opportunity for them to come and get hands-on experience about what it really is like to work in the STEM field.
The lab has 22 laptops that individuals are free to use when they come into Brooks Crossing Innovation Lab. And not only that, but those laptops are already loaded with good design type software so that they can design their products. A lot of fun toys here at Brooks Crossing Innovation Lab. The first one being 3D printing. So not only will individuals have an opportunity to come and learn about 3D printing in general, they'll also learn how to design objects. We also have laser cutting. Laser cutting is a good manufacturing type machine that can be used to develop various products. We have vinyl cutters. Vinyl cutters are really good for doing t-shirt screen prints. In addition to that, we have a mixed reality space. And then we have a wood shop. We have 3 CNC machines.
I'm a Newport News resident, and I was about to open up a business, Gale's Eyes Photos, and someone told me about the Innovative Lab, and I drove down. A young man was sharing his knowledge about the ShopBot. I came back the next day, and he gave me a one-on-one class on designing my sign, and voila, I had my sign.
This room that we are in right now is the recording studio. Individuals will have an opportunity to come in and learn the actual equipment. We have individuals that will work with them and help them get through the recording process.
Everybody really just coming together to make this work. And so it's exciting to me to see this place emerge right here so people can have walker-friendly job training. The people are here to help you achieve your dreams.
Some of the things we're trying to do with our participants is making sure that they have all the certifications they need. Don't have a GED, need a GED, basic computer skills, PowerPoint presentations, resume building. So when we hand them off to an employer, we feel like they're qualified. We have persons who've gotten jobs at the wage of $10 an hour with benefits as high as $24 an hour. What we have been able to do is get support from a lot of the employers to say, if you bring us a candidate that you trained, we will give an opportunity to work.
The sessions and the resources here at the Brooks Crossing Innovation Center are free and open to the public.
If you have a dream, you've set goals to do better this year, or maybe you didn't believe in yourself, you want to come here, this is the place to be.
I love it. They do a lot of great things, from babies all the way to veterans. They have about 22 programs that goes from Head Start, 4-year-old programs. They help teen moms. They help individuals that come out of incarceration, a reentry program. They really focus on the individual to make the individual a stronger, more self-sufficient person, because I was homeless at one time. Now I have my own place through HR CAP and different individuals that show me point you in the right direction to get you help.
It gave me opportunity to know what it's like to work in a real workforce. Yeah. I mean, it felt good to have a job. 'Cause I never had one, so it felt really good to see that $184 in my bank account. So it was good. I'm a computer whiz now. I do computer stuff now.
We have programs here that address social entrepreneurism, which addresses not only starting a business, but also involves starting a business that will make a difference.
I have 2 granddaughters that come here and they do the entrepreneurship class. It's stimulating the creative side of their brain. By the time they get off the bus, she's running to the house saying, "It's time to go. It's time to go to Anatiba's class." Like, I'm retired and I'm still learning. Free.
This is the place that we want people to come, and they can come and feel welcome and know that they have opportunity here, and that when they leave here, they will have a skill set that they can go out into the world and have quality of life. That's what's so important for us to make sure that people understand that this is a building for the community.
Lives are changing every day at the Brooks Crossing Innovation and Opportunity Center. It's time to change yours too.
So that is a little bit about Brooks Crossing Innovation Lab. So now I would like to take a minute to talk about this connection between music and STEM. As you can see on the screen, there are multiple terms associated with both. Research tells us that there is a consistent tie between music and the STEM subjects. Science involves vibrations. Technology involves the multiple audio interfaces used to manipulate those vibrations. Engineering reflects the creative process of making music, and math speaks to the counting and measuring of beats to compose a symphony and flow of musical sounds. So what is flow? It is really easy to find yourself completely immersed into the sounds and emotions felt when listening to beautiful music. We could probably spend an unreasonable amount of time just talking about the psychology, biology, anatomy, chemistry, and physics behind the phenomenon known as flow. But let me break it down like this. Flow is a state of mind, which is achieved when whatever you happen to be focused on at the moment no longer requires any thought about the actual activity. Some would say that flow is your truest and most natural state of being because you are enveloped in the actual experience. So let's talk about flow on the brain. Did you know that your thoughts flow in a wave pattern? It's true. Note on this particular brain animation that only one section of the brain is illuminated at any given time. There are different types of waves. There are beta waves. These are the waves that you experience when you are awake. There are also alpha waves that you experience when you are daydreaming. Perhaps you're in the reality, but your mind or your brain has taken you someplace else. And then there are theta waves, and these theta waves would be considered that state between when you're awake and falling asleep. So the brain on flow is considered transient, which really occurs in the prefrontal cortex. So it would be that front part of your brain right here. So when there are no more lights illuminated in that section, that means that you have have shut down that part of the brain. That brain is experiencing zero activity. And the rest of the brain is really where all of that creative juices really flow. So once you've shut down that prefrontal cortex, the rest of your brain, that creative part of your brain, is free to flow with all of those creative thoughts. So research tells us that flow improves creativity. And the more you practice the phenomenon of flowing, the better at it you become, which means the more creative you become. So science teaches us that sound travels in waves based on vibrations, and the speed of those vibrations delivers different sounds. So you have vibrations, sound, music, and flow. Experience the musical flow of STEM. So this particular series included Make Beats, Learn Code, which we will be following up immediately after this particular session with the final session of Make Beats, Learn Code, and we will have an opportunity to listen to some of those beats that were developed by students. We also had the Art of DJing that took place this past Monday, and that went over very well. And then today, we're going to focus on audio engineering and actually have an opportunity to listen to a live recording studio session. Please allow me to introduce you to Terry Bonner. Terry Bonner is a community outreach and education coordinator with the Newport News Commonwealth Attorney's Office. But his most important contribution to life and to the world is being a husband, father, grandfather. Through these accomplishments, he will live forever. So we welcome Terry to today's session. Oh, sorry about that. We also have Ms. Wanda Mitchell. Ms. Wanda Mitchell is a native of Camden, New Jersey, a graduate of Hampton University and Temple University with a BS in music education with graduate focus on opera theater. She has performed with Opera Ebony, the Camerata Opera Theater, concertized across the Eastern Seaboard, and is a national board certified teacher. She has coached with the late Sylvia Olden, Lee, and Martin Rich of the Metropolitan Opera staff, and studied vocally with the late Florence Berggren in Philadelphia. Currently, she is the director of choirs at Hampton High School, the lead teacher for the Academy of Technology and Engineering. Along with choir, she teaches electronic music technology. She sponsors the Tri-M Music Honor Society and the Drama Club. Ms. Mitchell has directed the Hampton City Schools Honor Choir and has been awarded Teacher of the Year twice during her teaching tenure as both a middle school and high school teacher. Ms. Mitchell is a choral and electronic music curriculum writer for the city. She's the lead teacher and mentor for new teachers as well as students. She is a mentor and adjudicator for ACTSO, which stands for Afro Academic, Cultural, Technological, and Scientific Olympics in both Virginia and New Jersey. Ms. Mitchell is a member of the ACDA, the American Choral Directors Association. and the National Association for Music Education. Also, the Audio Engineering Society. She serves on the Board of Education for the Abbey Road Institute in Miami. As a member of the Beauty for Ashes Contemporary School of Dance staff, she also teaches voice and, and piano. That's a mouthful, Ms. Wanda. So please join me in welcoming both Mr. Terry Bonner and Ms. Wanda Mitchell. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and throw this to Mr. Terry Bonner.
All right. Can everybody hear me out there? Good, good. How's everybody doing? Good. As you see, I have Logic Pro pulled up. Can everybody see it out there? Let me stop sharing that. As you can see, I have Logic Pro pulled up. I hope everybody can see it. This is a digital audio workstation. Now, the big question, if you Google right now on the internet, what is the best digital audio workstation, or what is the best one for you? And you'll get a general answer of whatever you feel comfortable with. There are about 6 extremely popular ones. The digital audio workstations, short is DAW or DAW. And the 6 are Ableton, Ableton Live, Logic Pro, Studio One, FL Studio, Cubase, Pro Tools. These are the most popular digital audio workstations, and they range in price, you know, so, and right now I have Logic pulled up on the screen so you can see it. Let me get some of this stuff out of you all's way. Now, basically, what you see here on the screen, this is a digital audio workstation. This is Logic Pro X, and you can only use Logic Pro X. Now, all of the other ones that I named, the Ableton, the Pro Tools, you can use those on PC and Mac, but Logic Pro, you can only use on a Mac computer because it's Apple's product. And I know there's some people out there who just love Apple to death and they want to use all Apple product. So this is the software that Apple made for music to use in their product. And everything that I've named is used in the industry on a professional level. I'm going to start here at the, let me move this down so I hope you all can see it. I'm going to start here at the top. And just like in all of the software that I named, pretty much do the same thing. They just have different buttons and different terminologies for those things. All of them have a stop button, which is right here where the cursor is, a play button, a record button, and this is a loop button. I'm going to go over here to Logic though. And most of the programs have this feature too. You can click on this question mark, and it's kind of gets a little bit irritating if you know, what it does is basically highlights everything you put the cursor on. It'll give you a little information about what it does. So if I put it over here on the stop button, it says it stops playback or stops recording. Now I'm gonna go to stop sharing the screen and go back because I want to show you all a picture of what all of this replaced. So here is a picture of typically what you see in the industry as a music studio. Now, this board right here, you see all these buttons and all of these little number buttons and buttons all across. To unconfuse this, all of these buttons do the exact same thing. So this typically would be maybe $100,000 to $1 million a setup like this. And so people got together and said, well, everybody should be able to afford to be able to have a studio. So they came up with Logic, they came up with Pro Tools. So now you don't have to buy one of these to get in your house. You can just get Logic Pro X. Let me pull Logic back up for you. And get to work. Now, I didn't start off with a blank session, but I wanted to jump right in for you. So this arrow right here, I'm gonna hit this arrow and it's gonna pull up this. And this is generally what you'll see when you start off in a session. You'll see this, and you can have a software instrument or audio. And I'm going to pull up a software instrument because I want to give you all an example of something right quick. So I hit create, and I get all of these instruments over here. And this is a good thing about Logic and some of the other programs, they do have some of this stuff. All of these instruments over to the left side of the screen over here, well, my left, you now have access to. I have multiple pianos that I can pull up. I can pull up, you know, some horns if I want to, some strings if I want to. And this is what made things cheaper for people to have home studios. Now, I'm going to pull up, I have a vocal track right here. Now, this is what we're talking about, the audio engineering. Now, what I'm going to show you real quick is the reason that engineering becomes so important, because once you make a song with the code or you make a song in beat making, you will bring it into software, a DAW, a digital audio workstation, to either enhance the sound, make it louder, make some parts of the song quieter if necessary. You can even, so I have a track right here that I'm going to play a little bit of. It's just an instrumental. And it's just someone playing the piano. And now I'm going to highlight this track and come right here. Now, these are called, like I said, we're not going to have time to cover all these, but these are called plugins. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to a plugin and I'm going to pull up a delay. And Logic comes with this, and most of these DAWs come with their own plugins that you can then add to this. So you heard that play without a plugin. I'm going to put a delay on it. Let me play it again without the delay on it, so you can hear it again a little longer. So that's playing without the delay. Now I'm going to put the delay on it so you can see the effect added to it. And I'm going to exaggerate it a little bit. And I can go through hundreds of these plugins. It's just about what you want the sound to sound like. It's personal preference when it comes to that kind of thing. Now, as I said, Logic and most of the DAWs that I named, the DAWs, the digital audio workstations that I named, they come with thousands of these plugins. So, you know, sometimes musicians and creators get stuck because they just go through all of them and try to add a delay or take out reverb or add reverb. So, you know, that's a big test. You just got to kind of get in here and get a feel for what you want to do. There's EQs, there's filters, there's just so much stuff. And if you want to learn how to, there's a video for almost everything up here on YouTube about how to do so. And I'll just pull up, let me pull up an EQ, and I just want to show you all this right quick. So this is a equalizer. Now, generally equalizers are put on tracks to make them louder or to take out unnecessary noise. And you're gonna have to come in here, learn how to use controls and learn what they mean. Let me play it while I do this. And then there's presets. Now, the good thing about the presets, like this is a piano. So I'm gonna go to keyboards and I can hit piano over here on the preset. And it's gonna give me a computerized analysis of what it thinks should be on a piano. And then I can tweak it a little bit myself, move this up or down, that makes it louder, bring it down, make it a little quieter. And I said, we definitely don't have time to go over every plugin in Logic or in any of the software, but they are available. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to stop the recording. I want to get to it because I don't want to run out of time. I want to get to actually doing a vocal recording for you. And I'm going to show you a couple of things about the vocal track. So I have a vocal track already pulled up. It's already enabled. I have a wonderful singer who you were all introduced to, and she's very accomplished. And she's going to sing a few notes of this song. And I'm not gonna put any plugins on it. I'm just gonna allow her to sing. Now, I'm sure you all are familiar with auto tunes. And I will tell you that the majority, including good singers, use auto-tunes today. Auto-tunes was created, I'm not gonna go off on a tangent on auto-tune, but I gotta tell you this. Auto-tunes is used, good singers still use auto-tunes. They just don't try to sound like a robot all the way through the song. Auto-tunes is used to correct little notes that may be off. But of course, if you turn it all the way up, you sound like a robot. But I'm gonna let her sing without auto-tunes, without any plugins on the track. And I'm gonna go up, I'm gonna move this down so you can all see it. So when you're getting ready to record vocals, and as I said, all of the DAWs have this functionality. So these are the most important buttons right here when you get ready to record vocals. There's a stop, a play, and a record button. And I have the metronome on. And when you have the metronome on, what you do is you give yourself a 4-second count in. And I think if you watch the video on DJing and beat making, they use that 4 count in to mix songs or to know when to start or know when to bring a new song in. And that 4 count in is, you know, kind of coined by James Brown, who always say on the 1, on the 2, or on the 3. So I'm gonna hit the record button and then you'll hear a little click. And then when it gets to 4, it'll stop and then the music will start and then the singer will start singing. So let's check that out right now.
I'm as helpless as a kitten up a tree, and I feel like I'm going into a cloud. I can't understand. I get misty just holding your hand. Walk my way, and 1,000 violins begin to play, or it might be the sound of your hello. That music I hear, I get misty the moment you're here. You may say that you're leading me on, but it's just what I want you to do. Don't you notice how hopelessly I'm lost? That's why I'm following you. On my own. Would I wander through this wonderland alone, never knowing my right foot from my left, my hat from my glove? I'm too misty and too much in love.
Okay, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. So what you just witnessed there, and I know in its simplest form, I just said hit the record button, but that is basically everything that is done in a state-of-the-art professional studio. They push the record button and the singer sings. Now is where most audio engineers come into play. They do a lot of things. They use a lot of software to enhance the vocals. They do a lot of things like, you know, add choruses or take pitch and change pitch. So this is where the science come into play. I have a raw vocal, and this is rare in the industry now too, for anyone to just go in the studio and just sing without any type of plugins on the track. So we just did something that probably hadn't been done since the 1970s. All right, so the majority of the singers today, they would have, and I'm gonna pull up auto-tunes, and let me make sure you all can see this too, because I want you, I'm gonna put right here, I have auto tunes on the track already, and this is a third-party plugin. And this is the famous thing that you all hear about. This is an Auto Tunes Pro plugin. It's a third party. This does not come with any DAW. Now, however, there is a way in all of the digital audio workstations that I talked about at the beginning, and all of the popular ones, there is a way where you can make the Auto Tune sound without this plugin. This just makes it easier, and this is what everybody in the music industry is using to get that auto-tune sound. Now, like I said, most artists now are singing with this already on the track. I already have her vocals here, and what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna try to add a little auto-tunes to the recorded vocals, so you can all, and I'm gonna solo though. Let me go back to it. These are the tracks, and as you see, there's an S and an M button, and I'm gonna solo this track. And I'm gonna put a little auto tunes on it, and I'm gonna exaggerate the effect so you can all hear it a little bit maybe. Let me move this. Let me turn it up some for you. Now you hear that distortion in the voice? That is auto tunes. That's auto tunes. Basically, I have it set to soprano, B flat minor. That is auto tunes trying to take her vocals and push them as close to B flat minor as possible. That's where you start to hear the robotic sounds. And as you see, I turned this all over. The Retune Speed is what that's called. And like I said, you have to watch a million videos on how to work all of this. This is another piece of software in itself that you can spend hours learning. But these are the main two buttons. Most people, when they buy this product, they use this button and this flex tune button. Now, this button makes you sound, the more you have it turned up, it makes you sound like a robot. The less you have it on, you sound less like a robot. And that's how I kind of remembered it. And the flex tune is if you turn it all the way up, the retune speed, and then turn the flex tune on, it makes you sound less robotic, but still kind of like a robot. That's what the flex tune kind of does. And as I said earlier, most artists now, they start recording with this already on the track. So they kind of finesse it to their voice and then sound like that robot sound that you're used to hearing in the industry. Logic Pro, and I want to talk about why I chose to start with Logic Pro. The reason that I use this DAW to start with, because it's a popular DAW, but it's also a popular DAW that people like to start with because it's just the functionality of it is so easy. Now, Pro Tools is the industry standard, and I'm probably going to try to pull Pro Tools up before we leave out of the video to show it to you. But the majority of music creators and the creators of the artists, they like Logic, they like Studio One and Ableton, and like Machine and Kai, MPCs. They use a lot of that software. And Logic, I just like the way it looks. Now, for me, if you ask me, well, what's my favorite DAW or what's my favorite digital audio workstation? I will tell you that I have used them all. Logic was my favorite because I just liked the way it looked. You know, it looked like it was a big deal and professional, but not complicated. Pro Tools, I don't like the way Pro Tools look. I mean, Pro Tools is not complicated, but it looks complicated when you pull it up. Ableton, I just didn't like the way Ableton looked. So it wasn't a matter of the functionality of any of that software. It was just personal taste. I just didn't like the way it looked. Now, Studio One 5 is the up and coming software. And I'm gonna pull that up definitely after we talk about Logic a little more. Studio One is definitely one of the most popular softwares out there right now, especially for music creators. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna stop sharing this. I'm gonna pull up, I wanted to show you all basic home setup. So this picture that I have right here, this is someone's home at somebody's house, and this is a basic setup. Now, they have, as you see, they're using Logic and they have a keyboard. And I know a lot of people, when they want to do this music stuff, they want to know, well, what can I purchase at home? Now, they probably have one PC, 2 monitors, and a MIDI controller. And that's a basic setup that's not going to cost you, well, this looks like it's about a few $1,000s, but let me pull up another one that you all can see. Let me stop sharing that. Let me pull this up. Right now, this setup right here, this is the lowest budget setup that you could possibly have as a music studio. They have a laptop, they have 2 monitors, they have a digital audio interface, a controller, a microphone, and they have it on the desk. And believe it or not, you can take this setup and make the same music that you hear in the industry. The majority of producers who produce songs for all of these superstars, this is the setup that they have. They'll have a laptop that they carry around with them. And then when they get to the studio, they'll hook this laptop up to the studio and transfer the music. And this person is using Ableton. That's Ableton on that screen if you all can see that screen. And that's why I don't like it. I don't like how it looks. Let me go back to Logic for you. Pull Logic up. Now, I wanted to show you all a couple of neat things about the reason I wanted to start with Logic, because I wanted to show you when I said this is the industry top standards here. So Logic comes with some loops, some sounds already. And I'm gonna go, let me move you all over here. The vintage sounds are right here. Now, the reason I pull these sounds, these are sounds that come with Logic. That means you can use these sounds royalty free. And the reason I pull this up, because I know some of you are familiar with Rihanna. I just grabbed one of these sounds and drug it over here to the track of view. So let me mute all of these and play this. This sound, which I just drug over here, is from Rihanna's hit song, Umbrella. So the producer who worked with Rihanna obviously had a copy of GarageBand or Logic, and GarageBand is a free DAW a free DAW, which I didn't mention at the video, that comes with Apple products. I think some people have it on their cell phones as well. In that sound pack that comes with GarageBand and Logic, there is this drum track that I just pulled in the screen. I'm gonna play a little bit of that for you. It is from the Rihanna song, Umbrella, and that was the #1 song. So that producer was over here looking at sounds and just came up. I'm gonna play it for you, just a few seconds of it for you. That drum break is from the song Umbrella. Now I would play the Rihanna version of it, but I don't want to get any copyright hits. So, when you get a chance, go look up that Rihanna Umbrella song, and this will be the start of the song. Now, I'm pretty sure that producer got paid pretty good, but he was able to come right here and get this drum loop and then drag it over here. And then he added some keyboards and some pianos to it. And like I said, most of the DAWs, they come with these sounds already. So I can basically take this sound and use it in my song without having to pay any royalties on it. And what I'm gonna try to do now is I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna put the auto tunes on. I'm gonna let you all hear the singer sing with auto tunes on the track so she can kind of finesse it and get a little robot sound for you. Let me click this off, delete this. All right, hold on, let me enable auto tunes, and I'm gonna exaggerate the sound. So it's not gonna be the best of quality because we're gonna extremely exaggerate it. And I just want you to hear what auto tunes does to your voice. And matter of fact, I'm gonna take it off of B minor because she's singing in that key a little bit, put it on E flat minor. And I just did that in the auto tunes. I'm gonna turn the retune down. I'm gonna have her start singing, and then I'm gonna bring it in slowly. Hold on. Let me move this down. Let me take that off. All right.
understand. I get misty just holding your hand. Look my way, and 1,000 violins begin to play, or it might be the sound of your hello, that music I hear. I get misty the moment you're near.
All right, so as I said, when you add these auto tunes and these delays, I was putting those things on the track earlier, but I don't think you all were able to hear them because I didn't have it set up right. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna play that vocal and I'm gonna play what that sounded like with that auto tunes on it now for you. And I'm adding a little delay. There's a bouncy pattern. Now, what I was showing you there is that there's just so many things now that I have a vocal in Logic that I can do. So when you make those codes, those coded songs, they may sound a little bland, but once you bring them into a DAW or a DAW, you're gonna be able to then add effects, add EQ. And like I said, there's just so many things that you can add to it. And it's just unlimited. Now, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to pull up Studio One for you so you can all see Studio One, one of the other DAWs. Hold on one second. Stop share. Studio One is one of the DAWs I mentioned at the beginning. So, and let me do a blank session for you all. This is Studio One, and I'm gonna pull up a new session. So when you pull up a new session in Studio One and Logic, you'll see a box very similar to this. It'll ask you for a song title, the key signature. We're not gonna worry about key signature right now. It's at 75 BPMs. So I'm just gonna put song title, TQB. Those are my initials, by the way, and just click new. So you have a blank canvas like this. And the reason that people like Studio One, I'm just gonna show you one trick. I don't have a lot of time to show you a whole lot of the tricks that Studio One can do. And this is a functionality that some of the other DAWs don't actually have. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna drag an instrumental in here into Studio One. And so I dragged this song in here. Let me minimize, let me move you all over here. Let me minimize this. So I've dragged this, let me make this smaller so you can see it. So this is basically that piano track. This is that piano track that I was just playing for the vocal recording. And so, and the play, as you'll notice, the play for this DAW, now we just had Logic up, but for this DAW, the play and the stop button and the record button are at the bottom. So they're right here, and this is the BPM. All of the information, the transport controls are at the bottom of the DAW. So this is that same piano. And the reason that so many people like Studio One now, because it has this one extremely good function that is extremely good for musicians and sample-based producers, is that this song right here, I have this piano in here that someone just played. I don't know any information about it, what the key information are, what's the chord progression. So I can click on this and go right here to detect chords or extract the chord track. I'm just gonna hit detect chords first. And what it's doing now, it is telling me what the chords are of this music. Now, a musician with this information, and this is where you can avoid having copyright issues. You can't copyright a chord progression as of right now. So these are the chords of this song. So then when you can extract these chords now as a musician, I can come in here and so I know that the beginning of this song was C major, There's a D flat minor in the song. There's an E minor in the song. And there's just so much I can do with that information. That's why everybody is moving to Studio One, because then I can then come in here and learn how to play a song. I can come in here and learn what chord progression a popular song is using, and then emulate the chord progression. If most of the songs are in F major, then most of the #1 hits. And there's actually websites you can go to that will tell you what most #1 hits, pop hits are, what chord progression they use. And this is why this is a real good feature. Now, I'm gonna pull up some of the functionality. Now, this is I just wanted you all to see that Studio One and Logic and most of these programs are very simple. You saw some of these controls on Logic. This is the track controlling the track volume and things like that. Now, I would have pulled up some MIDI functionality, but then we would have to start talking about MIDI and how we can use this chord progression. But let me say this, I now use Studio One as my favorite DAW, but I work with Pro Tools because I have to, because when you go to the majority of these larger studios, they're going to have a copy of Pro Tools, but most people, what they do is they simply just transfer their data over to the Pro Tools when they get to the bigger studios. And that's pretty much it. Anybody got any questions, just shoot them my way. I know I didn't cover everything, but there's just so much to cover, and we only had about 30 or 40 minutes. And I know when you're dealing with these DAWs and DAWs, there's just so much information, but I don't mind the questions coming. Shoot them my way, shoot them my way.
Well, you heard Mr. Bonner. Do you all have any questions? Please feel free to put them in the Q&A and you can ask them live.
Mia, you're on mute.
Could you stop sharing?
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Were y'all able to see those things that I had up on the screen? Okay.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
So y'all saw the Rihanna, the producer that made hundreds of thousands of dollars using a drum track from GarageBand, basically.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, I wish I would have found that drum track first.
So Terry, while we're waiting for some questions to come in, why don't you tell us why you ventured into the realm of audio engineering?
One of the reasons I started off, I was a DJ. So a lot of music creators kind of start off that way. And then, you know, of course, I went to piano class so I could learn music theory, because they said if you're a producer and you learn music theory, you can be a real good producer. But it became a hobby for me. And the reason I moved towards the engineering part, because every local rapper wanted to come in and record, and I didn't know how to do it. So it got to the point where I was having to turn away guys willing to pay me a little bit of money to record vocals. And as you know, studios are pretty expensive. They generally range from $100 to $200 an hour, and you got to get a minimum of 3 hours. So once I was able to home in on vocal recording and being able to do it at the house and being able to do it good, because, you know, when you're at the house, you get dog sounds in the back, air conditioned sounds. And being an engineer, I can record somebody with an air conditioned sound in the back and then take the air conditioned sound out later. All right. So, you know, they just have to deal with the agony of hearing the air conditioning. But that's why I got interested in engineering. It's just it's like magic almost what you can do with sound and science, all of those things that I didn't think I liked, science and math. I ended up getting into both of those things in music engineering.
Wonderful, wonderful. Miss Wanda, let's give you an opportunity to share with us some of your knowledge as it relates to electronic music. You may have to unmute your.
So that I can't unmute her.
No, Miss Wanda. Or you might walk on to the other side and
Come over here with me.
Okay, Ms. Wanda, we just want you to share a little bit about your journey, because I know that you started the electronic music program in Hampton City Schools. So tell us about that journey.
It's been an exciting adventure. I'm part of the Academies of Hampton, and specifically the Academy of Technology and Engineering. The students learn about the dolls. We started with the basics of GarageBand. And this year, we're really excited to be able to have full-blown Logic Pro X. So the students are able to come into our studio. We've created a studio at the school. They can make the beats, they can write their songs, they learn the theory of music, which, you know, of course, which is I call it the grunt work, because they're like, okay, we don't want to do beat, you know, clap, 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 clap. We want to just make the beats. I understand, but you need to understand what goes behind that. So they learn the ins and outs of music theory, as well as how to create their own pieces, and they're excited with it.
That's great, thank you.
Okay.
So I think I'll turn this over to Dr. Farrell.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for joining us today. Thank you very much, Ms. Mitchell, and thank you very much, Mr. Bonner. And if you all that are listening want to come back the next session, of course, if you've been doing this all last week, the musical flow of STEM, Ms. Brandy Wright will be the instructor starting in about a minute. So with that, I will say have a wonderful afternoon, and some of you will see in a few minutes.